Because if you go piss like a puppy, stay on the porch and let the big dogs eat.
What is up, my Sabronis? This is another episode, another week of the Sabo Standard Podcast. And, had to use Jamal Williams to bring in the intro because today I decided to bring out the "If you're going to piss like a puppy, stay on the porch" shirt. And it just felt fitting as we do this one, as we get this one rolling tonight, to do that intro from the great Jamal Williams, one of the greatest quotes of all time, motto to live by. Just love it. So here we are, another episode tonight, focusing a little bit on the 80th season of the NBA. It started last night, so perfect time to do kind of a NBA season intro preview episode. This won't be as long as normal NFL, college football ones were. We'll talk about this, the majority of it, but we do got some NFL and some college football stuff to get into. We're getting that part of the year where, NBA is going to be on every single night. Obviously some big changes with the TV networks going back to NBC, which we'll talk about a little bit. And then football is on like 50 consecutive days or something like that, with some, lower level games on the Tuesdays and on Wednesday. Obviously Thursday night football, Friday night football, Saturday football, Sunday night, Monday night football, high school football, gearing week 10, playoffs coming up soon. So whenever that is over, hopefully not for a good bit of time, but whenever that is over, a little bit more time devoted to getting to watch, and then a little less time, out with that going on. Obviously, again, not anytime soon. Let's keep that rolling. But, in the NBA, I really do enjoy the NBA. I like the NBA a lot more than some. There are things about the NBA that I don't love, but, there's things about the NFL and college football I don't love. It's a sport that I really like, and so it's back. It's back, and it came back without, really even getting to notice. I mean, there's so much going on in life right now in my world that it was kind of under the radar. I knew that preseason was kind of going on, but to have it officially really back right now, I'm excited to talk about it. So won't spend too much more time. Let's just get into it. So like I said, NBA season tipped off on October 21st, but we kind of missed that, beginning of the season. Let it start out before we get into kind of the nuance of it all. But it really just seems like a few weeks ago, but, really a few months ago, where we got that great ending of a Game 7. Tyrese Halliburton led the Pacers. They forced a Game 7, going to Oklahoma City, for that Game 7, the first one since 2016 when the Warriors had their 3-1 collapse. Tyrese coming off, he had that calf strain, but 9 points in the first few minutes of that first quarter, just playing lights out, looking like it was going to be something that, one of those special nights. And then the Achilles, popped. Pacer season like that, it just came to an end. They kept it close for a little bit, but at the end, they weren't going to have enough manpower without Tyrese. Ended up losing 103-91. And OKC wins their first title since moving to Oklahoma City, their first one since 1979 as the Supersonics. And SGA finished off an MVP season, a scoring title season, with the Finals MVP, and 7 different champions over a 7-year span. And when that really happened back in June, it was something that I kind of talked about to a lot of people, and I wish I was doing the podcast then because it would have got a lot of attention. 7 champions in 7 years. The NBA had never really had five or six in that span, so to get 7 champs in 7 years, and I think it's something that continues to go on maybe this year. So the NBA really is just like a grown adults man sports opera. More times than not, the headlines, are dominated by big trades, big free agent signings, what this guy said about that guy, guys being mad at each other. And when it's about the game, it's about people being mad at the game, people being upset with, the load management, the 3-point shots. And in reality, sure, the game is different than what it was in the 2000s, the 2010s even, the 90s, the 80s, the 70s, all that. But it's still basketball. And I think people, they tend to forget that once playoff basketball comes around, it does, resemble good basketball. And it's not about lack of defense. It's about over influx of offense. I mean, offensive players are so talented. Nobody, these guys that are the greatest in the world, can't go and guard them. I think that transition period from post-finals to Game 1, it's always dominated by the big moves. But now that it's here, like you're gonna see some good basketball. You're gonna see some talented basketball, some really good teams, some really young teams, even some old teams that I think are gonna be okay. Um, and I think this year is gonna be really weird with like a lot of teams that feel like they can win it all. There's not a lot of teams that have cap space with the CBA. Trying to get rid of those super teams, trying to like have an emphasis on getting rid of super teams with the second apron thing. It's going to be really hard for teams to make those extra moves now. Like I feel like a lot of these teams, the team that they have right now is the team that they're going to have all season. So the offseason really begins with the draft. The Mavs, they were handed Cooper Flag, and it's like I'm not a big conspiracist, guy, and I think that I'm gonna do history episodes soon. Like I'm working on those as we speak. And one history episode we can get into is like the conspiracy of the NBA draft lottery, especially 1985, giving the Knicks, Patrick Ewing. But if one's ever been rigged, it has to be this year. You trade away Luka and you get handed Flag. You get handed Flag along with an Anthony Davis, Kyrie Irving. Like there's good talent on the team to keep the Mavs interesting. A lot of people speculate that the Mavs could be a team that would move to Vegas someday, and you want the star power there when the Mavs just handed, Luka to the Lakers. But the drama unfolds with free agency, and then here we are. I mean, it's all that buildup, and it's all that buildup of a sport where the drama is in that offseason specifically. But this isn't about an offseason recap. It's about the season's here. Let's talk some key points, talk about some predictions. And again, I'm not spending as much time with this as I did college football NFL preview because the season is so long. So much can change even more than the NFL and the NBA. So it's not too much of all that. It's just some predictions. It's just some fluid movement of what I really do think the season will look like. So here are my big, bold NBA predictions. First off, MVP. I think it's going to be Luka. I think he's just going to have too much, offensive production. I think he's going to have, he's got LeBron James as his teammate. He's got DeAndre Ayton as his teammate. He's wearing the purple and gold. The eyes are going to be on there. I think he's going to put up so many big points every single night. And I think that the NBA, just like it was unfair to Jordan, just like it was unfair to LeBron, it's going to be unfair to Jokic. I just don't see a path where he can win another MVP because there's voter fatigue. It just happens. They don't allow it to happen over and over and over and over again. Just like LeBron could have had way more than four MVPs, Jordan could have had more than the 5 he had. Jokic obviously can have more than what he has, but it's not going to happen. I think they want to give it to different guys. It continues the trend with being a overseas player with Luka. Rookie of the year, this is easiest prediction since probably LeBron in 2003, but Cooper Flag is going to win Rookie of the Year. There's going to be other great rookies, but Cooper Flag is very talented. Okay, Cooper Flag is really good, and I don't see a pathway where unless he gets hurt, Cooper Flag isn't the best rookie overall from game 1 to game 82. He wins it all. Defense player of the year. Again, it's just one where it just seems like this has to happen. It's inevitable with the size that he has, with the shot blocking ability that he has, with the presence that he has being 7'11" is Wembanyama. He's going to win defense player of the years eventually. It starts now. He finishes his career with 3, 4, 5 of them. And then that first one is here. My sixth man, I like Josh Hart. I do. I like him a lot. I like what the Knicks have. I like the talent the Knicks have. And I love that he could be the best sixth man off the bench with everything that he does. Points, rebounds, assists, defense. Everything about Josh Hart is good, fun basketball. And every team needs Josh Hart. And the fact that the Knicks have him make the Knicks a really, really good team. I think he is the sixth man. Most improved. This one was tough. I got the two Thompson twins. I like Amen a little bit more. I think his team is better than Osir on the Pistons. Not that the Pistons can't be good. I think that they have an opportunity to go back to the playoffs and win some games. I just think that the Rockets are better, which gives him a better opportunity to be on a better team, to really showcase the talent along with playing it with the Kevin Durant. As talented as Kevin Durant is, as old as he is, he has a talent that makes other guys around him better. Give me Amen Thompson to win sixth man. Most improved. Coach of the year is Mitch Johnson. I don't think the Spurs are great. I think the Spurs can have an opportunity to be anywhere from a 4 to a 7 or 8 seed. But I think that they're going to win a lot of games. Enough games for him to be able to win it. It's a good story after everything that just unfortunately has happened with Popovich not being with the Spurs anymore, being the longest tenured coach in the 4 major sports for a very, very, very long time. It's just to the point now where, fresh faces, a fresh team. It's not the Spurs that we grew up with anymore. It's a different Spurs team. They're going to win enough games. I think it's a good story, and a lot of the times stories matter. All-Star Game MVP, this is anyone's guess. I put it on there because it's in LA. It's technically the Clippers hosting. It's in Inglewood, but it's close enough to LA. I'm gonna go with either LeBron or Luka. It's gonna be one of the 2 Lakers. They're gonna show out in Los Angeles, but I think it could be LeBron's last one ever. It could be LeBron's last one in LA ever, and so I think he's gonna put on a show for fans in LA. And then let's get into some teams. My West Finals is going to be the Wolves over the Thunder. I think the Thunder get back to that. I think the Wolves just finally get over the hump. Anthony Edwards is really, really, really good. He himself is going to kind of be like what Shea was last year, getting that team over the hump. And then my East Finals, this is not going to make you Cleveland fans happy, but I think it's Knicks over Cavs. I think the Knicks played so poorly against the Cavs and Celtics last year. This is the year that they get back. This is the year that they go win those games in the regular season against them, and then in the playoffs come around. I think it's 7 games. It's a fun, awesome 7 games. I think the Cavs are going to be really good all year. I don't expect them to dominate as much as they did last year, but I think the Cavs have an opportunity to be really, really good again. They got good talent. They have the biggest payroll for their starting 5 in the league. And reaching the Eastern Conference Finals for the only time in franchise history without LeBron James on the roster would be really cool for them. And I just think the Knicks get it done. And the Knicks make to the finals for the first time since 1999. And I think the Knicks beat the Wolves in the finals in 5, maybe 6. I don't think the new head coach, I don't think, what's his name? Obviously, you Cavs fans, know him very well. Lakers know him very well. Sacramento Kings know him very well. It slipped my mind right now, but I don't think this team elevates because of him. I think they elevate because of the talent. I think Jalen Brunson is really, really, really good. I think Karl-Anthony Towns is really, really, really good. I think those two, along with Mikal Bridges, along with the Josh Hart, along with the OG Anunoby, there is so much talent on this team. It is, I think, top to bottom, one of the best rosters, and I think Jalen Brunson is really good. And I think the East is down. Obviously, the Celtics are going to be down with no Tatum. The Pacers are going to be down with no Halliburton. A lot of the great players go back to the West. That's how it works out. And so the East is top heavy, and the Knicks are very top heavy also. I don't trust the 76ers at all. The Bucks without Lillard, I like Giannis. Giannis is going to do good things. Giannis isn't going to be able to do enough to get the Bucks to that point. It's the Knicks and the Cavs are the 2 best teams, and I just see a opportunity for the Knicks to get it done for the first time in a very, very, very long time and win it since the first time since 77, 76, something like that. And so I'm excited for that. I think the Knicks are going to be really good. I think the Knicks win the finals over the Cavs. And like I said, Jalen Brunson is your MVP. Some of my hot takes. I think the Clippers are a play-in team. I don't trust the Clippers. They bring in CP3. They bring in John Collins. They bring in so many guys that are these has-been type of names. Not the Lakers don't, but I don't think DeAndre Ayton's as much of a has-been as, the CP3. The guys that they're just trying to do this every year with, and it just doesn't work. All that talent, and I think they're just a fringe playoff team. I think the Thunder repeat as number 1 seeds. They get to the finals, like I said, and they lose to the Wolves. Nuggets, Lakers, Rockets, Mavs, they're all older teams, with older, star players. They're your fringe 3, 4, 5, 6 teams. That you round out the play-in with the Spurs, maybe the Suns. There's just those teams on the bottom. The Clippers. Those are my guys that I think get in at the end, and I just think it's the 1 and 2 are the ones that are going to be the most dominant, with that being the Thunder and the Wolves. From the East, I didn't really write any of this down on the East side. Like I said, I think the Knicks and the Cavs are the 1 and 2s. Your 3, I like the Magic. I like things that the Magic did. I don't trust the 76ers at all. I don't trust the Celtics. I think the Pacers are going to be okay without Tyrese Halliburton, but you lost Miles Turner too. Like, it's just, there's so much turnover from them there. Chicago, like, what did they do to change anything they had on their roster last year? Like, no teams really stand out as like, yes, they made the move to be in that next spot. If anything, everybody just feels down other than those top two teams. Another big one. I don't think LeBron is traded this year. There's so much speculation that he's going to get traded to the Mavs. He's going to get traded to the Cavs. He's going to get traded out of the Lakers. I don't think he does, and I think the Lakers don't make another big trade. I don't even know if the Lakers make a trade this offseason, and in fact, I don't think any major star is moved during the season. I think obviously some moves will happen, maybe even some bigger name guys. Like if the Cavs really wanted to like save some money and offload Darius Garland and get an okay point guard back and kind of replacement of that, and maybe a first round pick later on, I could see it happen. I could see Lauri Markkanen getting moved outside the Jazz. They're so bad, might as well go get some talent for them. And those are big names. They are good players. They are not superstars. I don't see the superstars getting traded. I don't see the Luka to the Lakers trade. I don't see KD to the Suns. I don't see, Melo to the Knicks. I don't see Giannis to insert whatever team. It just doesn't happen this season. Jimmy Butler last year to the Warriors. I don't think Jimmy Butler is anywhere near a star, but like that big of a trade just doesn't happen this year because, one, again, teams are all very even across the board. Why make moves that maybe don't even need? You don't have enough talent to be able to give up to get that. And I think too many teams are navigating that first and second apron. They just don't have the flexibility to get it done. And the NBA is going to like that to a certain extent, but they're also not going to like that to a certain extent because it takes away all that, again, that off-season drama, that talking points is the big name trades. How much of that do they want? They need less, but they also need some. And the balance of all that, along with good basketball, makes it what it is, right? So big trades just don't happen. My last major hot take is LeBron does not retire at season's end. I think next year is his last one. I think it's with the Lakers. I think they kind of fix that relationship. Maybe takes the pay cut next season. The Lakers make some more serious moves, and LeBron tries to go out with one more finals next year as they get better. With doing something this offseason, maybe try to make a big of a run as he can this year. It just feels like they're one more year away from figuring out the final roster spots, and LeBron is just in that final year next year. All right, last thing NBA wise before we kind of transition to the NFL. Like I said, I think the NBA is in a very weird spot. They're in a spot to where baseball is trying to grow again. Hockey is expanding to do, regions of the United States every year. That they seem to be expanding teams, and the NBA hasn't really had expansion since, adding Charlotte back after moving before. And so it's in a weird spot with younger generation, right? And Adam Silver has said it's a highlight league. You can get on TikTok, you can see the big plays, the big talking points, and without even watching a lot of basketball, you can know what's going on in the NBA. Whereas the NFL, you are addicted to watching football, and we as a United States are addicted to watching football. Football is king. The NFL is king. It's even getting to the point where college football almost trumps a lot of NBA ratings, NBA storylines. People love football. The NBA, their goal should be to be the number 2 league in America, the number 2 professional league. If you're behind college football, it is what it is. But you're above baseball, you're above hockey, you're above March Madness overall. I mean, that's the goal. And how you do that? Well, I think one thing that is going to be really successful for them is going back to NBC. Obviously, no longer on TNT. And inside the NBA, the Shaq, the Kenny, the Ernie, Charles Barkley, like that was them being on TNT. That was why TNT had that. That was that biggest thing for them the last few years. And that got moved to ESPN. And I don't think the TNT production is really going to get missed. And I think the ABC ESPN production is going to get better Because if you watch that first night of NBA on NBC for the first time since the 90s, not only did it give you nostalgia, it gave you that throwback, it gave you that good feeling, but the production was better. The NBC company knew that they had to outperform and do something to show why they bought the NBA, why they got rights back to the NBA. Not bought the NBA, but obviously bought rights to be able to put that on TV. They put starting lineups on. They had Melo, they had Michael Jordan, they had Tracy McGrady, they had big names like that as part of it. They went and got Reggie Miller, they had Mike Tirico. Like, they had things that were basketball in the last X amount of years to us, but also different. Also different in a way that was 90s, that was 80s. You're bringing back that old fan base along with continuing to get new fans by being a TikTok highlight league, being able to go on, and you're attracting both the older and the younger and your middle generation. I'm still there. I'm watching regardless who it's on, but it's cool to get to watch an NBC production because it was better than anything TNT has given us. It is better than anything ESPN and ABC have given us because ESPN and ABC are kind of like the big broad picture. I think they're just going to get better because of the NBC production, and I'm really interested to see how Amazon Prime does. They're the third team, they're the third company that went in and got rights to the NBA. I'm really excited to see what they do. I think that they're going to have good production. I think that they are going to do a good job of showcasing these games. And I think because of all this, the money's going to be brought in. The league is going to be under a magnifying glass even more than kind of already is. The basketball is going to get better because of it. And people are going to stop being all over like the drama, and appreciate basketball for what it is, which is a great, fun, amazing sport that was one of my favorites growing up. It's one of my favorites now. I want people to love basketball. I want people to love the NBA. And at the end of the day, we're closer to the time of a league not having LeBron and KD and Steph and CP3. Guys like Giannis and Jokic, like, they talk like they're not going to win. They're not going to play for 20 years. Like, their careers are already closer to being to the end than the beginning. And so you need the young guys, the Wembys, the Cooper Flags, the Lucas, to keep the game growing by playing great basketball, by playing fun, competitive basketball, by having not the same two teams dominate for 10 years. 7 teams in 7 years is really cool. I think 8 teams in 8 years after this year. And then I think like next year, a team like the Lakers can really go compete. The Celtics, being healthy, can compete. The Thunder are going to be contenders for the next a good amount of years. And so that streak is going to end, but it's not Thunder. It's not Lakers. Not Cavs, Warriors, Cavs. It's like, it's different. You're getting competition while also getting those teams that kind of win it more than others. But that's good for the league. It creates villains. It creates good storylines. It creates storylines without being like, we have to trade our number one guy to a team to get draft picks because that's what sells. And the NBA is heading in a direction where that is what they need, that is what they do, and that is what is best for their sport to keep them always growing and being the number 2 sport behind football and specifically the NFL. Speaking of the NFL, let's revisit our tiers from last week. So, I'm not going to go through every single game or every single team in their tier, but if there was a change, I'm going to highlight that change. So my first change, I'm dropping the Bucks from my Super Bowl contenders down to my playoff locks that could win some games. I think the Bucks drop because there's just too many injuries. Igbokwe, is out. For how long? He was close to playing the other night. He could be back. But, just running back injury, receiver injury. Mike Evans out for most of the season. If he comes back, it's at the end of the year. Probably a playoff run. How good is he going to be by missing almost all the season? Because he played one game, he got hurt. He came back for one game, he got hurt. And so the Bucks are dropping because I just don't see them being able to compete for a Super Bowl. But I still think they're really, really good, and they can go beat any of those teams, the Lions, the Eagles, if they get the right, get them at the right time. The Seahawks, they're on the merge of moving up. They just need one more game to me that is like, oh my God, they are really, really good. They can definitely compete. And honestly, same with the Colts. The Colts are really good, and they dominate all games. I just need one more from the Colts against a really good team that just shows like they are Super Bowl contenders because they are playoff locks. I think these teams are really good. They can win games in the playoff. They can win a game. They can lose a game. They can win a few. I would need just one more for them. And like the Steelers and Packers are the same way. And they play each other on Sunday Night Football this week. Both teams can really impress me with a dominant win over each other, or drop to the close by getting dominated. They're both coming off tough weeks. I know that the Steelers got embarrassed by the Bengals. I know Jamar Chase owns the Steelers defense right now. I know the Packers won, but they still struggle with, I think, an awful Cardinals team, a bottom 5 team in the league. And so they both have to respond from that. And the Steelers need to respond a little bit more because of the loss. And I think that the defense plays good enough. I'm going to talk about that game later on in a minute. But both those teams need that. They're both good teams against each other. They go out there and really play good football. They can move up to that, be closer to moving up to the next tier. And then the Niners. The Niners moved up from close to me to playoff locks. It doesn't matter what they're doing, who they're playing. They're going to find ways to win. Christian McCaffrey, should be in the MVP combo. And they paid all that money to Brock Purdy. It's amazing. And just for Mac Jones to go to do the same stuff. It really feels like they have no weapons every single week. George Kittle comes back, doesn't even catch more than 2 balls. And McCaffrey just helps them find a way to win. That defense, they just respond no matter who they lose. Not my Cowboys. Oh, gosh. In my tier list, the Cowboys jumped up from the middle to close, like right there on playoff contention. Their record, they have the losses, they have the tie, but the Falcons and the Cowboys, I had the Falcons move it too. When those two teams want to play well, they look really good. When they want to play great offensively, they can be explosive as anybody. And when they want to mess around with their food and not shoot all the way, they can choke any game. And then, my bottom is still the Browns, Bengals, Titans, Raiders, Ravens, Saints, Dolphins, Jets, Cardinals. The Cardinals, Jets, Dolphins, Saints have no chance of moving up. The Ravens, if they get healthy, we talked last week what they can do. The Bengals, if Flacco plays that way every week, they're going to win games and they can be, disruptors to a lot of teams. And the Browns, if the Browns play defense like that and they ran the ball like they do, again, they could go beat any team in the conference and shock some people. There's really no great games this week, and so I really just kind of have 2 games of the week. One is the Giants and the Eagles. The Eagles are 7.5-point favorites. I know the Giants kind of dominated them on that Thursday Night Football a few weeks ago. I don't expect that. And if the first 3 quarters Giants show up, they have a chance to win. If the fourth quarter Giants versus the Broncos show up, then it's going to be ugly. But I think the Giants can win this game. I think they do win this game. It's much closer. I just think the Giants, when they are playing well right now, are playing really, really well. And I know that the Eagles are too. I just like the Giants a little bit more. And then they got them the first time. I think they go and they get them a second time and just kind of throw some fits into that NFC East. And then my second one is the Packers and the Steelers. I didn't just pick this one because it's the Steelers game. Again, there's just not a lot of really great matchups this week. And so I have the Packers and the Steelers. Green Bay's favored by 3.5. I'm not gonna pick a winner because I know for myself with this game, with the loss to the Bengals last week, had we beat the Bengals, I would have picked the Packers. It would have been easy to pick the Packers. You won a good amount straight. You've had your one loss to the Seahawks, and now you're sitting at 5-1 or 4, whatever it is. 5-1, and you go and you lose to the Packers, a good team. But because they didn't beat the Bengals, they're in a spot now where they have to feel like they have to beat the Packers. They have to. Like you're proving everybody right that thought that this was a fraudulent team if you don't go beat the Packers. And I think that the defense can respond. I think the defense can force sacks and force turnovers and give the offense opportunities to score, which the offense can go score at any point without having a single receiver other than DK Metcalf on the field. The Steelers at any point in time can go run 5 wide with DK Metcalf, 3 receivers, and a running back. 3 tight ends and a running back. It was literally DK Metcalf, Jonnu Smith, Pat Freiermuth, Kenneth Gainwell, and Darnell Washington split 5 wide. I just don't understand. What they're doing. And they still managed to put up a lot of points and give themselves an opportunity to win. And all those things makes me want my brain to pick the Steelers. And because of that, I'm not going to make a pick other than whoever wins this game wins by 3 points. And that's my NFL rant for the week. We'll see how these tiers move next week. All right, our last little segment as we finish out this episode. this NBA preview episode where we talk some NFL, some NBA, some college football, all of the great sports that we love. I love so much. College football is as crazy as ever. Last week was one of the greatest weeks of good matchups, fun games, back and forth, teams that should have won that didn't win, teams that should have lost that didn't lose. A lot of upsets within the top 10, some by top 10 matchups or ranked matchups, and others by Miami just going to Louisville on a Friday night and Carson Beck throwing 4 picks. I mean, that's what college football is all about. And so, because of that, the top 10 changed. And I probably won't do my top 10 next week because I don't expect a lot of change within it. So we might wait a few weeks depending on how many upsets happen between now, Saturday and those next few weeks. But this is updated as of this last week with all the changes that there was. My almost is Notre Dame, Illinois, and OU. Illinois' 2 losses are to the top 2 teams in the country, Indiana and Ohio State. Notre Dame, 2 1-point losses to Miami, to Texas A&M, and OU. I'm going to talk about OU in a minute, Oklahoma in a minute when it comes to Ole Miss. This game this week I'm going to talk about in a minute. But OU, it just feels like they're right there right now, but for how much longer? Number 10, I have Miami. They dropped from 3 to 10 for me, 2 to 10 from everybody else, from the AP poll. Carson Beck plays like that again, and he's going to throw their playoff chances out the door. I just don't think they can afford 2 losses in the regular season. If they make it to the ACC championship game and lose, I could see it's still them getting in. But you can't do that in the regular season, buddy. Like there's too many good teams. There's too many other 10-2 teams that are going to be better. BYU at number 9. I thought Utah was going to win that game. They go there, it was in BYU, but they go out there. They dominate them. They're undefeated. They are a fun, explosive team. BYU's 8. BYU's 9. Ole Miss is 8. I know that I feel like it was a game that they should have won. Georgia just in the end found a way to win. Georgia's at 7 for me, so I put Ole Miss right behind Georgia. Again, Georgia finds ways to win. I just don't trust them all the way. They're going to lose another one at some point. I really don't think they're that good. One of those teams they could lose to is number 6, Georgia Tech. I told you Georgia Tech was my lock of the week last week versus Duke. They go out there, they get it done. Tech Tebow, Haynes King, Brett Key, it is a fun team. Georgia Tech is really, really good. I could see them getting to a point where they win the ACC. Like they could beat Miami in the ACC championship. Number 5 is Texas A&M. I know that you obviously can piece together who's above them. I know they're really good. I want to see them dominate a really good ranked team one more time. And then, but it's not even about that. It's Oregon is really good and Bama's really good. Like Bama's playing the third best football in college football right now. They are. Oregon is explosive as all can be. I know their one loss was to Indiana, who I think is really good. Indiana's playing the second best football in college football right now. And that's why you have Ohio State 1, Indiana 2, Bama 3. Those are the 3 teams playing the best football right now. Bama's playing the third best football since week 1. Since that loss to Florida State, they are playing the third best football overall. Ty Simpson is really good. They don't even have a dominant run game, and they are really, really explosive on offense. Indiana is one of the best teams in college football, offensively and defensively. We've talked Indiana so much, and Ohio State, obviously, is Ohio State, and all that they have done since the start of the season, beating Texas the way that they did with a slow-paced game, and since then the offense just looks more and more explosive every week, and the defense looks better and better every single week. I mean, there's so many stats to back up that Ohio State is really good, along with just watching the game and knowing that Ohio State is really, 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 really good. And so it's not even a knock at Texas A&M at 5. It's Oregon, Bama, Indiana, Ohio State are that good. All right, last segment of the evening is just our games of the week for college football. Again, just like the NFL, there's really not that many crazy good, oh my God, matchups in college football this week. There is some, and so I don't even have like a lock of the week. There was no games, so I was like, oh my God, that's absolute lock. So I gave you 3. Ole Miss, Oklahoma. Oklahoma was favored by 5.5, and maybe I put that wrong, but I'm pretty sure that's what it said. I think both teams need to win. This is an elimination game for almost both. Maybe Ole Miss could be 10-2, but they still have, they being in the SEC, they are going to play some tough teams, and they still do have some tough teams in front of them. I think they respond and they win at OU, and I think the magic's gone for them. They need to beat Texas. That was the one that they needed to win so that they could afford to lose this one against a good Ole Miss team and win a one against a Bama later on. and keep yourself in contention. But if they lose this one, then they lose to Bama. There's 3 losses. It's just like Miami. Like, there's just too many good 10-2 teams that you're not going to be able to get in. And both those teams, I just feel like you lose that second when the juice is gone. The next big one is 15 Mizzou at 10 Vandy. Vandy's a 2.5-point favorite. I think they cover. I think this is a fun, high-scoring game for a long time. I think at the end, like, 2.5 is just not a – I don't like that number. I'd rather see – I think teams win by touchdowns more times than not. This is high-scoring. 2 fun offenses. 2 offenses that, like, neither one of them can compete with the great defenses in college football, but it's good stories, and Vandy's obviously a great story right now. Within the last 2 years, they've really changed their program around. And then the last one, big one, is 25 Michigan at Michigan State. Michigan's a minus 14.5. It's a good rivalry. Obviously, I'm rooting for Michigan State. I can't stand to watch Michigan win. It being at Michigan State makes it interesting. Night game on the road, NBC. I think Michigan State, because it's at home, will keep it close. I do think they're going to lose by 7 to the other team, but I'm rooting for a big major upset. So there you have it. Another week down the hatch. This is game recorded on Wednesday night. I was going to do it on Tuesday. I was locked and loaded, ready to go, ready to record the NBA season preview on the night of NBA season starting up and not the second night. But as you guys probably know, or as you do know if you listen to this or you know me in my personal life, Grayson is sleeping in his own big boy bed. And Grayson doesn't fall asleep always the fastest, and I like to lay next to him for a little while. And I fell asleep and didn't wake up till about 11:30 at night, and I was not going to come back down here. And it just happens. It's part of like I say every week, fatherhood and adulthood. And I love doing this. I wish I could do it more every single week, but it's just not the reality because of family and work and all those things and my priorities of that more. But it's okay because it's a Wednesday night. This is getting recorded. This is getting posted and published on a good Thursday. If you've made it this far, I appreciate you listening. I appreciate you giving it opportunity. It's not just a football show anymore. It's a basketball show again. So share this with somebody that loves the NBA. Share this with somebody that loves college football. Share this with somebody that loves the NFL. If they love football, they love basketball. Share this with them. Leave a review. Leave a rating, all those nice, fun things. I appreciate any and every listen, and I really am trying to do more and more and more and more every single week. Got some ideas, just got to find the time, and once the high school football stuff is over, the time looks a little different. It will be done, and just trying to figure out some of those smaller details that makes doing this, easier, continues for it to be fun. And as long as you guys are listening and enjoying it, I will continue to the best of my ability, because we are trying to set a standard over here. Like Mike Tomlin always says, the standard is the standard. We live by that motto, along with, again, my favorite motto. We'll let Jamal Williams tell you one more time.
Because if you go piss like a puppy, stay on the porch and let the big dogs eat.